What's going on, guys? Tower number 9 here, and we are going to have a game here with a league game where I am playing Green Sabine and my opponent is playing Green Sabine. We're going to have the mirror match here, and we're going to see how that goes. It looks like that's what we're headed towards with the showcase series that's been going on recently. I don't know if you guys have checked out those videos, but there is a kind of content creator showdown that the Unplayable guys are hosting called the Showcase Series. And it seems to be headed towards some Sabine mirrors, and now it looks like we're going to have a Sabine mirror of a different type over here. So let's get into it here. I get to go first, which is a good place to begin for this mirror. So what we're going to do is, well, there is a risk of ECL immediate ambush, which I would not like. I think we're going to resource like this, which is a little conservative, but we'll see how this goes. Start off with Sabine Ren Explosives Artist. Well, there are at least 3 aspects among other friendly units. This unit can't be attacked unless you gain Sentinel. Opponent spending 2 for an A-Wing. Okay. And we are going to take initiative. So then opponent draws. Yeah, so we have 2 main options. We can do Wing Leader or we can do ECL Ambush, kill their A-Wing. I think especially with this Steadfast Battalion, I think we're going to save the ECL Ambush. So we're going to go for a Wing Leader play here. So Wing Leader, buffing Sabine. Wing Leader, a very strong card. When played, give 2 experience tokens to another friendly rebel unit. So using this to buff up our copy of Sabine Wren and hopefully be able to deal 5 damage to the opponent's base this turn. Might also distract an attack from the A-Wing. Doesn't look like it though. So 5 to base. We're going to go 5 to base. Opponent probably going to take initiative here. Yep. And then let's see. Under the circumstances, we are ahead. Are we ahead enough to use Sabine's ability? I think we probably are. So we'll do that and then go to the next turn. Heroic Sacrifice. So we could do Heroic Sacrifice, Wing Leader, kill A-Wing. That's like a kind of decent play. I think maybe it's better to just play more units. Hmm. Double small unit this turn seems pretty reasonable, and we have potential Steadfast Battalion next turn. Okay, we're gonna resource like that. We're not going for the Heroic Sacrifice play this turn. Okay, so opponent continuing to pressure base. That is fine by me. So Sabine comes in for 5 to base. Could plausibly have avoided doing that to put pressure on the opponent's leader, Sabine. But we have the Steadfast Battalion play on the potential next turn, so hanging on to that for now. Opponent deploys Sabine. I will also deploy Sabine. Base for 3. Base for 3. Medal Ceremony, okay. Um, Low impact, but could be pretty relevant here. So I think we're gonna do for a cause 1 miss 2 3, and then so we're going to put Rebel Assault on the top of the deck, um, which will immediately win the game if we get to play it. So opponent has to take initiative now instead of playing out a card unless they have something that can kill stuff that we have on the field here. There is a risk that the opponent could win with a Rebel Assault of their own, but doesn't go for it, so that's going to be our win. Um, Opponent plays a for a cause. That's going to deal 1, 2, 3, 4. They had a better draw on that for a cause, but we take initiative, and that's game. Oh wait, sorry, that's at the top of the deck, not in the hand. Almost cheated there. We erroneously put that in hand instead of on top of the deck, but we'd rather Rebel Assault, and that's game. Because all we have to do is Rebel Assault into the enemy base. So yeah, then we're gonna do that. So Rebel Assault. So then that's going to be 6 and there and GG. Okay, so Rebel Assault wins the game off the for a cause. Yeah, pretty straightforward, but we are doing a 2 out of 3 here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the sideboarding phase, or it's not really a phase, but we're going to go ahead and sideboard. Okay, so we're going to be bringing in these Consortium Star Vipers and General Dodonna. So those are both in the deck as kind of mirror breaker type cards. We're going to remove the Partisan Insurgents. And let's see, what else do we want to cut for this? I think so. Steadfast Battalion is important. Partisan Insurgent is removed. We have to find 2 other cards to cut. It's probably actually going to be these Heroic Sacrifices, which I'm not that positive on them overall, honestly. I might cut that card more broadly now that we have Rebel Assault. I'm trying to see what the replacement would be. Opponent is still sideboarding over there, so we'll use this time to clean up the playfield. Those life totals fixed, and let's move on to game 2. If we can get this win, we'll get the 2-0 win in my first match of this season of the league. This is a definite mulligan hand with no starting play. Not at all what you want to see. And we mulligan into nice. This looks like a pretty solid space hand. So what we can do here is Alliance X-Wing with red 3 and the Star Viper. Those are really good cards to support it. Fleet Lieutenant's solid. Dodonna is really good in this mirror. I think we resource the for a cause. The difficult part is which of these are we going to resource? I think it ends up being the Fleet Lieutenant here, but I'm not sure. So we have a very strong space start. Let's see how our opponent starts. Nice Sabine. Alliance X-Wing. We're not going to use Sabine's ability. We're just going to pass. Spec Force Soldier gets resourced for sure. So my goal here is going to be to get the a bunch of units set up in the space arena, and then bring out General Dodonna and have a overwhelming advantage in space. With our units buffed to make up for the disparity between space and ground. But we'll see what the opponent does here. So right now, depending on what the opponent plays, we could potentially ambush in our Consortium Star Viper or Red 3 to deal with a space unit. Nice. This is perfect. So the opponent has played a Red 3, so we can now ambush it with our own Red 3, which is exactly what we're going to do. ECL Red 3 kills opponent's Red 3. So Red 3 counters itself. It has Raid 1 and each other friendly heroism unit gains Raid 1. And it is a 2/3. So my Red 3 hits his for 3, only takes 2 damage back. He hits my base for 3 with Sabine. I hit his base for 3 with my X-Wing. And I now have this buffed Red 3 still in play. Opponent takes the initiative. We're going to draw up, resource the redundant General Dodonna. But this is potentially going to be a super positive situation for us because we can play General Dodonna this turn. And with General Dodonna on the field, we then have 2 different buffs with both Red 3 and Dodonna buffing the other units in the build. So it could be a really scary situation for the opponent. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. Could also play it differently. So, for instance, if the opponent plays Bright Hope, we can play the Spec Force Soldier to disable Bright Hope's Sentinel, attack with our space units. Maybe play the Consortium Star Viper as well, um, and get set up that way. But right now we are considerably ahead due to the favorable ambush there, and we'll see if we can stay that way. Okay, so 3 damage to base. We're going to go ahead and bring out Dodonna. So this is buffing our other units, and the opponent is going to have to use something to deal with Dodonna, or else is going to be far behind. Okay, so K2 ambushes Dodonna. That's fine. So we lose Dodonna, and the base takes 3. That hurts, but it also means our space area is our space units are now uncontested. So X-wing in for 3. Red 3 in for 3. Opponent swings for 3. We're gonna bring out Sabine. Opponent takes initiative and Sabine for 4. And so we are now considerably ahead, and the question is just, are we going to be able? I think we actually resource the Star Viper at this point. Um, the main issue here that I'm seeing is that I have not drawn any sort of burst. It would be really nice to have some kind of burst. It would be really nice to have some kind of burst damage here. So a Rebel Assault, for instance, would be really nice to have, but we just haven't seen it. Okay, so we see an Echo-based defender. In some situations, this would be a big problem, but because we have red 3, it's not. So Sabine kills the defender, takes 4, and then 1 to base. So red 3 here, because it's giving Sabine raid 1, she's able to defeat the Echo-based defender in 1 shot. Opponent, interestingly, is going for the base here. I don't know, maybe the opponent has some like strong burst damage. If I'm this opponent, I sort of feel like I sort of feel like it might be time to attack Sabine. I don't know, I could be wrong. Maybe she's gonna do, no, not doing that there either. 3 more to base. Maybe there's a Rebel Assault and we lose. It's entirely possible. Um, Rebel Assault at this point would win the game for the opponent. There's other stuff that could potentially win the game for the opponent, depending on. Okay, so opponent takes initiative. So we're going to go ahead and play K2, and then I think we just pass. We could play the Spec Force Soldier, but we have lethal on board. Still no burst damage. That's really unfortunate, and it does mean we might end up getting the loss here. I think this, yeah. I wish I still had this fleet lieutenant that I resourced earlier. But sometimes that's how it goes. We can win in 2 attacks, and the opponent. The problem is the opponent if the opponent has any burst damage card, they might actually get this win, which is it's a tough situation to be in. We've been at an advantage this game, but sometimes you don't have a key component. And in this matchup, burst damage is very important towards the end game. So Rebel Assault from either of us wins the game immediately. Opponent types GG. Okay, so it's the base for 3. Yeah, I mean, I'll have K2 kill Sabine. That does 2 to base, and so there is a risk of like for a cause now. I think the opponent was saying GG to concede, but it wasn't clear. It might have been a like victor's GG, or so I wasn't entirely sure. The opponent asks, why not just 5 to base and win? And the answer is, I didn't realize I could do that. Bit of a gaff. So I could have had K2 hit the base for 5 with red 3, in which case I would have won the game. Um, but the opponent says, too bad I can't punish since I got some kind of sensor to draw. So the attack pod shows up, and then Sabine attacks and wins the game. Okay, so we did it. That was a sloppy way to play that last one there, but we did get the win. So, um, interesting scenario. Ultimately, we do end up going 2-0 here, which will be the win for the league match. Even though in that last game I played it in a silly way and should have just attacked with K2 to the base to win immediately. But just goes to show. Opponent says this matchup is really sad, to be honest. Definitely a quick one way or another. So yeah, these aggro mirrors can be very fast, and that's what we saw here. Ultimately with my win in both, but can easily go either way. You really want to get that burst damage. Um, you want to get those buffs, and opponent says very luck based and initiative based. I don't entirely disagree. Aggro. I would not say it's totally luck based, but aggro mirrors are more luck involved than some others because the games end fast and you don't see that many cards. That's gonna do it for this one though, guys. Thanks to y'all for watching, and we'll be back later with some more Star Wars Unlimited content. I will catch you guys later.